Hello everyone, you're welcome to Yvonne Winifred UG. Today I share how I made this senator top wear for a kid, a young boy of about 7 months old, but the same method can be used to even a boy of like 1 year or more or less. And I made it with a placket, sleeves, and also the neckline is piped. So if you really want to see how I made everything and the measurements, let us start. So these are my two pieces that I have to work with. I have the back piece and the front piece. The front piece is shorter than the back piece by about 3 inches, and I'll be explaining why. So guys, the width, by the way, is all the same. So let me show you the measurements that I worked with for this front piece. So the full length for the front is 17 inches, and I added 2 inches as the hemming allowance. Then for the width, guys, the chest measurement I'm working with is 20 inches. But for any senator wear, you have to add some excess. You have to add some ease allowance. So I added 3 inches. And I also added another 1 inch for sewing allowance. And I also added another 1 inch for the vent or the slit at the side. So altogether, like, I added more 5 inches to the chest measurement of this little boy. So guys, that is what I have. So I'm aligning my two pieces together. Remember, the back is longer than the front by 3 inches because the back overlaps into the front along the shoulder, as we were going to be seeing. So to slant my shoulder, I'm marking 2 inches. You can even mark 2.5 inches. For adults, you can mark 4 or 3.5, especially those who are really marked. So I'm drawing a line and I'm going to cut. I'm doing this, remember, for both my front and the back at the top. Yes, so after this, guys, I'm going to push the front one to align with the back one at the hemline so that this allowance is now at the top. So for the front, I'm marking 1/2 inch from the top of only the front so that I push my back to be overlapping like here. Are you seeing? I'm pushing the back excess onto the front to form the desired shoulder. So now this is what we have. This is how a senator wear is made. So now for the shoulder, I'm working with 8 inches, dividing that by 2, I have 4. But I added 1/2 inch as ease allowance and also another 1/2 inch as the sewing allowance because I'll be adding sleeves. So I'm marking 5 inches. Then from up there, I'm going down by the armhole measurement. In this case, I worked with 6 inches. Remember, it is a little bit free. So now I'm marking this line, and now we formed the chest line. So I'm going to get the midpoint of this line, which is at 3 inches, and I already moved inwards to about 1/2 inch, but maybe sometimes I'm like, maybe I can use 1/4. You're not supposed to curve it a little bit more when it comes to guys or men or boys. So before I carve out my armhole, I'm marking 1/4 of the chest measurement. Remember, it was 20. We added 3 more inches. So 23 divided by 4. Whatever I got, it was around 5.75, but I rounded it off to 6 inches. And that 6 inches, I had to add 1 inch for the sewing allowance. Marked it along the chest line, then carved out the armhole simply as you see me do. Now after that, guys, we have to also mark where our vent or our slits will be. So this I just did randomly. So I worked with just 7 inches from the hemline. I went up by 7 inches and I marked where the 7 inches ended. So remember, here we have 7 inches at the chest line. So here where the vent is going to be, I marked 8 because we need another 1 inch for the vent, for finishing that slit part, like professionally. So I added another 1 inch there. From what I had at the chest line, which was 7 inches, here where we want our slit to stop, I added 1 inch and I marked 8 inches. I also marked the same 8 inches at the hemline, connected like this, and now that is the shape so far. Now we have to move on to shaping the neckline. From the top, I think you're seeing, I marked 2 inches as the neckline width, then went down to mark 2.5 inches, of which I wasn't so sure because I had not measured the neckline of my boy, but it is okay. You can, please do your measurements. And I also was like, okay, in case of any changes, I will change it. And I think later on I changed it to a neckline of about like 13.5, 14 inches thereabout. And that is what I worked with later on. So I think you're seeing how I'm cross-checking to see whether I have about here like 6 inches because it is on fold. So 6 times 2, it gives you the all-round measurement of 12 inches as the neckline measurement. So now to cut. This is also tricky. Are you seeing what I'm doing? Lift up only the front and cut out where you've marked, only the front. Then also lift out only this top part of the back and you cut out just as I've seen. Then this point part, please cut it off so that it is flat. So you're only cutting on the top pieces, the top pieces. Don't just cut everything just as the way we do when it comes to dresses. So now I'm cutting. So this is how we do when it comes to senator wears, or what some people say the mini kaftan, kind of like it has all names, but the senator top, this is how we cut it. And I'll be sharing also another video of how to cut the men's senator wear for adults. Maybe next week, I think I'll be sharing that too. So now this is what we have so far. This is the back. The back has that overlap. So this is how it looks like. And this is the front. We want to create the placket, so we'll be slitting the front, the center front. So now when we move onto the back piece, I've created a yoke. You know, the back shirts or the back pieces always have this back yoke. So this is what I did. I just, duplicated the top part of the back, and the length of this entire piece from the neckline measurement was about like 5 inches. So I'll be folding it by 1/2 inch down, then sew along like that. I can even, sew along the neckline just the way it is, not right side facing each other, no, just the way you are seeing it is at the back part. You see, I'm just pinning it, so I think you're seeing it is just top stitched on top of the right side at the back, just that. So now these are my placket pieces. Each is 3 inches in width and the length is about 8 inches, but the excess will be cut off later on, as you're going to be seeing. So to slit up my front piece to create this placket, I'm marking about 5.5 inches. That is where I'll cut up to. So I'm going to cut to about 5 inches. You can even do 6 because you need to create somewhere where the head will be passing. Don't play with that. So now I'm going to the wrong side. So the right side of the placket is going to face the wrong side of the main front piece. And I'll be sewing by 1/2 inch up to 5.5 inches. Remember, we cut 5 inches, but when we are sewing, we are going to sew to up to 5.5 inches, and a 1/2 inch we are going to create some diagonal lines that will help us flip these placket pieces onto the right side, the front side of this piece that we really want to, the side where we really want to look at. So now after the sewing, this is the back yoke. It is finished simply like that. And now this is the front also. I've added or joined the placket pieces onto the front piece just by 1/2 inch along this cut line. So now I'm going to grab my scissor, and remember we cut up to 5 inches. So we sew up to like 5.5. So I'm creating from where we cut a diagonal line towards where the stitch line is. It is about 1/2 inch on either sides, and we are going to cut along these short small lines. Don't cut in excess, cut just 1/2 inch so that we can flip the placket pieces onto the right side. So this is what I'm doing here. We are flipping them onto now the right sides. Remember, we are forming our placket. So now to go on, I'm going to push in this sewing allowance of 1/2 inch towards the inside. Oh, by the way, guys, please make sure that you add some interfacing in the middle there of your placket pieces. It gives them some, firm look. So I'm going to push in the allowance and also fold in 1/2 inch. Then I will sew along that. So add some allowance, then fold 1/2 inch. Then place your placket along the already stitch line, kind of to cover it. And you sew along just a top stitch. And you'll be seeing that the placket will be forming just by itself. So that is how simply I make my plackets. So after sewing, this is what I have. So now, guys, recently I was in some class and I was told that the guys or boys placket faces the left and the ladies faces the right, but I'm not so certain about that. So please comment below, what do you think? Tell me more. So I decided to make this one face the left, and the left one I've left about 2 inches in excess, and the other one that is going to be down, I've cut it to around 1/2 inch. And now I'm folding the one that is supposed to be on top, as you see. So I'm tucking everything inside, and I'm going to just sew along into kind of a box down there to finish up my placket very well, and that will be all. Then after that, I'll just be joining along the shoulders for my front and back pieces. Remember, the back has a yoke, so that shouldn't disturb you. Everything stays the same. You just sew the yoke onto the right side, the wrong side of the yoke facing the right side of the main back piece. Just only that, you join them there along the hemline of the yoke. Hope you've understood that. So here we are, we finished the placket. If you have any questions, please comment below. I've joined, and now we have to cut the sleeve. So I have this piece folded into 2, then into 4. Anyway, just fold a piece of fabric. Now I'm folding. I want to get both my 2 sleeves from this one. So the fold lines are at the end there where we are marking. So after getting the measurement of the armhole, which was about 8 inches, I'm marking it here. Then from the top, I went down by 2.5 inches. Just as the cap's height, I used like 2.5 inches. And the full length of this sleeve, I want it to be at 4 inches. But guys, since we need more sewing allowance at the top and hemming allowance, I added more 2 inches. Now I'm going to cut off the excess. So the entire sleeve after sewing, it will be 4 inches long. So now this is what we have. Now I'm going to, mark. So I have about 6 inches here in the length. The width is about 8 inches. So I'm drawing a diagonal line like this, and I'm just going to do, my sleeve is going to be random. So for the opening of the sleeve down here, I worked with 5 inches. First I marked 6, but later I changed it to 5 inches. So I'm just drawing kind of an S or you can do half inch upwards, half inch downwards, and then form your sleeve like this and cut out. If you don't know how to make a sleeve, I'll link a detailed video below and you will learn how to. So you see now I have my 2 placket pieces. By the way, before cutting, I made sure that I folded the hemming allowance down. That's why you're seeing my sleeve looks like this at the hemming allowance, and I'll be folding it like this, then sew along for both sleeves to hem my sleeves and then join them onto the shirt. So when you're joining, there is a joining we made, but then there is a fold. The fold is the correct midpoint of the armhole. That is where your midpoint of the sleeve should be matching also. Don't match your sleeve, the midpoint of your sleeve to the stitch line we made along the shoulder, but to the fold we created when we overlapped the back excess 3 inches that we added to overlap onto the front. So now guys, before making the slit, I'm going to first finish the hemline. So I just double fold by 1 inch. Remember we left 2 inches. Double fold by 1 inch like this, then top stitch, straight stitch, and then after that we are going to finish up the slits. So now this is it after finishing the hemline. Everything is neat. And now I'm going to flip it onto the wrong side so that I show you how we are going to be finishing the slits on this side. Some people call them the vent. Anyway, so I'm folding in the 1 inch that we left, and then into the 1 inch which was the sewing allowance. So you see, you have to finish it professionally, excellently. Fold in half the 1 inch, then again into the 1 inch sewing allowance like this. Then we are going to top stitch from down. Let me show you properly. Again, fold in and we double fold by 1 inch, then you sew along like this, then you cross over to the other side and then also go down. If you know how to make a slit, this is all that we do here. If you don't know, just watch again. You sew along like this, then you cross over, you make sure you tuck where the back and front join, and then you go over to the other side. Then again you fold in, double fold by 1 inch that we left as the slit hemming allowance. Then you sew along, then cross over to the other side also, then continue down, and that will be all. So simple. So after sewing, this is what we have so far. Yes, so it is neat finish. I love using 1 inch, not half an inch, because half an inch looks like it is for the girl. But for men and boys, I love having that hemline in a bulk, like 1 inch and above. So now I have to measure the entire neckline measurement that I have here. And I've gone ahead to cut out a diagonal piece, guys. Are you seeing? I've cut it out diagonally, not straight, but diagonally. It even has a little bit of a stretch. So this is the piece that I've cut out. In width, it is 2 inches. And I'm going to fold by a 1/4 inch from one side, all along. You can use even a flat iron to do that to help you. Then I will fold the rest of the piece to meet this a 1/4 inch. So guys, they are supposed to kiss, not to overlap. Then after I fold in into 2 and make sure that one piece is slightly larger than the other side, like one side is slightly larger than the other side. Then I'm going to fold in the stud piece like this, making sure, are you seeing there is an overlap here, like one side is larger than the other. So the side that is larger is going to face down, and the side that is slightly smaller will be on top, and I'll be sewing all around the neckline to finish. So that is how I'm going to pipe this neckline. That is how a nice neckline is piped. So after everything, guys, this is what I have. If you have any questions, please comment below. Comment below. If you want another tutorial of this same piece, I'll make it for you, just for you. So comment below. Anyways, guys, this is the shirt. I'm waiting for him to come and try it out. In case of any changes, I'll be telling you in the comment section. But it came out so beautiful.